Hi guys, it's Mikhail. Today we're gonna have a look at Su-101 Tier 8 Russian tank destroyer. And today let's start with the armor. After that we go to the garage to look at the other things, and in the end we're gonna go into battle. So for the start, stats and 3D model tells us a very interesting story. Stats tell us that we have 120 millimeters of armor, 90 on the sides and 40 on the rear. But if we get a look closely, the angling on the armor is pretty amazing. So that gives us around 149 over here 158, back here 167, and on the whole, on the gun mantlet, 200 or 400 in some occasions, as you can see. So if you want to shoot at this guy, don't shoot over here at the gun mantlet because it'll just ricochet of it. The SU-101, unlike the ISU, which is much more preferable because of its gun, it's a totally different beast. It's much faster, it's much more mobile, and it doesn't rely on armor. So I'm not telling that the SU-152 relies, ISU-152 relies on the armor, but this thing definitely doesn't, even if it has some. And it's mostly down to the angling of this armor rather than the brute strength. So if you see it over here, 140 will be enough to defeat a tier 6 gun, but it won't be enough to defeat a tier 8 and 10 gun, which this machine will face. Your sights are vulnerable. Even if this is 150 millimeters of armor, I think only tier 5s won't be able to penetrate, but you know you are at tier 8, you won't be seeing any tier 5s, especially after the new patch with the light tanks that's coming around the corner. Now the rear of the tank is around 35 to 40 millimeters of angling of the armoring, and the angles are not good, it's basically a flat side, so the RT will basically allow you to hit you from your back or your upper parts. So as you can see, 20 meters of armor are basically an inviting target for the enemy RT. And once you count all of those things with the SU 101, it's basically a situation when you have to use your mobility to fire and to relocate. Speaking about the mobility and the other things, let's jump into the garage itself so I can explain it in a bit of detail. So you already saw the armor module and what it can do. Don't try to tank with this machine, it's not gonna go well for you. Also, one of the bad sides is you don't have much of a survivability, you have only 990 points, which is not bad for a TD, but not something to brag about, in the tier 8 especially. So what you have to do with this thing actually is to stay hidden and use your allies to your advantage. You can go with a certain kind of compositions. Remember one thing, when we start telling about the gun, it's about some aspects that you should know. So let's go with the gun. The first gun that this thing had before was the 100mm gun, back when the professionals like WikiBaby used to review it. And the 100mm was a decent gun, and it still is, but considering my playstyle, I am finding 122 with a bigger punch much more attractive. So, what are the differences? 1 second of aiming time is the main difference. 258 penetration compared to 219 with AP rounds, and only 10 millimeters of penetration for your heat rounds. That's the main difference between these two guns, and of course the 320 plus the 440 alpha damage. Now we have to prefer, do you like to have a constant barrage of fire as a TD, or do you like a one good shot on the enemy to cripple them or even one-shot them? This is what you have to choose between these two guns. So do you want a rapid fire or a penetrating power to cripple your enemies? This is your choice. I found out that the 122mm gun, as someone that uses only regular accounts mostly, and actually 99% of the time I use my regular account, this gun is actually saving me money because I don't have to use these premium money wasters, which have a good penetration value, but I don't like them at all. I didn't like them on my T54, let alone this thing. So, you have your choice of the guns, and you research them now by using the 122 or 100mm gun with the same amount of penetration. And the same thing is with this. That means actually this gun is from the RS tank and this gun is from the SU-100M1 tank. So you have a similar penetration values with a bit better APCR on this thing, but you have also to choose between DPM or pure punch that you have between these two starting guns, and you're gonna have the same stuff with these two guns. Compared to the ISU, this thing is much faster, and mobility shows itself. Top speed, traverse time, and so on is much better. Almost like a medium tank, and I use it like a medium mostly on my play style. I back up my mediums, I back up my lights, and they are mostly providing me with the spots. But here is the situation. When you use the equipment on your tank, this is what you can go with. You can go with a medium caliber tank gun rammer, improved vents, and the third option is between binos or enhanced gun lane drive. Now this depends what you like. I usually go with the telescope because it gives me up to 485 spotting range when I'm stationary. Plus, as you can see by the icons, if I get Brothers in Arms or Recon, I can increase it substantially over time. But without it, it's 388. So if you're gonna stick with the 388, you're not gonna spot for much, but at least you have the gun lane drive to increase your accuracy a bit. Or you can compensate that with just adding Brothers in Arms. So, this is my playstyle basically with this thing. I use the big gun, I use my binos, and I back up my mediums and lights. That's the best way that I found this thing to work, and it's very good. Though one big flaw with it is actually the gun has a very bad arc range. Now it means you have to be pressing X button to remain stationary in the hole, so you don't reveal your position, because the gun will just go maximum up to here and up to here. And on the gun, depression values are basically very bad, so when you try to shut down someone that's below you, it's gonna be tricky. You have to expose for a lot, or you have to risk it for a charge. But if the enemy tries to go up from up to you, you can easily pull this thing up to the enemy and shoot them back. It's basic, as you can see, the construction limitations of the gun. But if on flat terrain, it's a very good machine. So when you are using it, I also recommend that you use it as a stealthy backup for your mediums, because that's why I'm using a skill as a concealment as a skill for my driver, loader, and gunner. And my tank commander at the moment is still having the repairs on, because when the enemy rushes you and you get actually your tracks pretty easily destroyed, so that's why I got these things up. And what I want to do actually after all this is get to the third perk, reset with the credits, and do with the sixth sense. Of course, this is an imperative. After tier 5 you have to have this thing. And the second thing, actually the second skill, will be Brothers in Arms. After that go with the concealment and repairs. After all those things, with the other crew members, you can do something like this. Maybe Brothers in Arms be your first. After that go for the Deadeye, which is mostly important for this thing. You won't be don't need a snapshot, you don't have a large turret to rotate and stuff like that. So Deadeye, and basically after that add concealment and repairs as third and fourth skill. For your driver, there's a couple of options. Now, Brothers in Arms as a first. Keep in mind with these two skills, but also you can combine them with clutch braking, smooth ride, and off-road driving. Off-road driving will increase your speed and cross-terrain abilities of this machine, while the smooth ride will increase the accuracy of this gun if you are using it as a pure TD/medium tank. But lack of the turret will basically compromise that ability of yours, so I don't recommend getting the smooth ride as one of the first skills. That reminds you to use the clutch braking, which is increasing your turning speed, and off-road driving. So basically, when you take all those things into consideration, clutch braking first, second off-road driving. And with those kind of skills, combine the concealment and repairs to stay hidden and punish your enemies, and if you're tracked, you can easily get out of the trouble without using the repair. kit. And now also that leaves us to one thing only. Let's jump into the battle so I can show how this thing is played. So before I start narrating the battle itself, it's gonna be second part of 20 minutes for me to narrate, so if I make a derp moment during the comments, you just have to leave it at that, okay? Anyway, this time I choose to bring up some friends with my SU-101. And this time it's gonna be the map that has a couple of options for you. Left side, on this map, 1, 2, 3 line, actually you can go with that line and use it as part for the heavy tanks. And the right side, where the forest is, fast heavies actually that are mostly mediums and lights coupled with a couple of TDs that are very light. And the heavy TDs can also go with us, but they can as well back up the heavies. RT is gonna prefer to fire around 1, 2, 3 line because it has very little cover. This side of course has very little cover, but well, at least you can hide if you have a good camo. And it's very crucial, because if the enemy rushes this side, the other side definitely falls. It's just a matter of time, because they are constantly spotted and they are cornered, and plus if the art is in the game like it is at the moment, you're going to fall pretty rapidly. So, taking out the enemy eyes, or should I say spotters, will be my priority. T-37 is my priority target. And the light tanks can actually use the middle of the map throughout the village to spot and try to stay hidden and get as close to the enemy as possible. That means on both sides, and it can work both sides, so remember that. So the T-37 was just a bit not too much cautious, and he took one good shot from me, and that's one enemy destroyed. Now I have to be careful because the RT might be zeroing in any time that we are speaking at the moment, so that's why I'm not staying in one place. T-54 mod 1, not fully aim shot, and it actually goes right into the ground in front of it. Thankfully to my friends, this time with the medium tanks we are managing to hold the enemy rush. If we didn't have any tanks over here, we would be effed up. Basically destroyed and went back to garage in one go. Now we are holding the enemy rush, even though that the Chinese tanks that most of these guys are using are having bad gun depression, as well as myself. That's gonna take a while for the situation to develop, because it's a matter of who's gonna peek out first, who's gonna make a mistake, who's gonna overcalculate his gun depression. So the TVP is one of the first victims that's gonna do that, and he goes for the trading, but that trading is not very good if you have 3 guns shooting at you. So he's making a mistake. Plus we have a T-54 as a backup, which is very good, so we can rush this side definitely. Now our team decided that they're gonna hold the left side while we punch on this side, so that it's time for the punch. T-54 mod 1, I'm aiming at him this time and let it aim, and I managed to get one good shot into him, dropping him down to be a very easy kill for my team. If my team doesn't want to get him, I can get him as well. So I was trying to get the kill on that guy, but unfortunately the others managed to get him. So I was forced to do a snapshot on the M4A1 Revolver, and the Revolver was fast enough to get away, but I must warn you, he has decent gun that has a long reload, but if that gun hits you, you're gonna feel it. Anyway, enemy E50 at the moment is right in front of us, so I'm gonna aim for a bit, but as you can see, the RNG doesn't like me as today, and sometimes it doesn't like you when you're driving your ISU derp troll gun. But on the second shot, the same stuff goes pretty well for me, it penetrates. So I see the enemy artists definitely focus on this side, so there is the splash. I'm trying to stay hidden as much as I can, get some cover for me over here by using these houses so the arty doesn't hit me, trying to get the enemy A50, and E50 definitely sees me now, that's why I'm backing off. Now the primary role for me is gonna be to leave the enemy E50 to make a stupid move, and if that guy makes a stupid move, we can use it. T-54 goes in, he goes for the T-54, 1-2 shots, That guy goes down. Meanwhile, we have a problem with the scouts that are on the left flank, and the left flank is being rushed by some of our enemy scouts, and they take out one of our guys. T-54 is a very agile thing, and I need to get him, so that's why I ran him, losing very little HP in the progress. So that's one of the enemy scouts down, and my back secured, and an ally revenged. So, that was a very bad shot from the... Actually, very good shot, and a very bad situation for our T-54 Mod 1 who just took an enemy art in the face. And the situation that why you have to destroy them as fast as possible is that arty loves you, and when that arty hits you, it's gonna take a lot of you. So we managed to lose another ally, the SU-101 as well. So that means the enemy arty managed to nail us pretty good this time. That means even in this situation that when we are actually winning, the arty can do a hell of a lot of damage combined with that RU-251. Because they only need to kill at least, let's say, each arty hits each of us, that means we have 3 shots. Basically, we are one-shotted each one of us. And they have around half a minute to reload, to a minute. They can do that again. So it's not very good situation. We have to eliminate them fast, so that's why I'm rushing my shot, unfortunately missing the RU. One of my allies drops down the enemy RT2 very little bit slimmer health, doing one shot on the enemy M53, M55, get him down. Or should I go for the scout or the RT? I'm going for the RT. I need to get that massive gun out of the game. That's one RT down. Now we are gonna go for the scout and the batchet. And at the moment, we are now hunting enemy scouts. RU-251 knows that he's gonna lose the battle, but he's not gonna go that easily. So, they're changing fire. RU managed to hit him. My ally managed to hit him, but only drops him down to 6 HP. That I managed to finish him off. And after that, I have to do something that I don't recommend to anyone. Don't do snapshots like this. Look at this. There is the batchet, there is the ISU. Bang. Went over the ISU. If the ISU was a bit fast in reverse, I will have a team kill. Keep that in mind. So that was a big gun. Anyway, let's go with the fast firing gun. The fast firing gun is another beast, as I said before, and this game took a bit more than the last game. So, with the fast firing gun, you have to make it sing. You have to be on target non-stop. And you're gonna have some problems when you face enemy tier 10 tanks. Against enemy tier 9 and 8s, it can be doable, it can be useful, but if you go that one bit more, it's not gonna serve you so well. Though in these low tiers, it's actually a beast, a phenomenal gun, a DPM monster that can easily rip the enemy to shreds. But if you get spotted, as I said before, and you have to keep your gun on the enemy and you are spotted and the enemy returns fire, you're not gonna trade so much because you have only 900 HP. And that's a bit problematic, so you need to rely on your allies to spot for you. So we have a Comet going down the middle line, and a couple of tier 6s with me. So my primary targets are enemy scouts, or the enemies that want to go a bit too far and be a bit experimental with their luck or RNG. Firefly aiming at him, don't aim quite well, and the Firefly just dodges the shot. So the second target is enemy T-34. I'm rushing a shot a bit much over here. I should have left him to go a bit forward, then fire at him, because I only managed to get one shot into him and not the full 2 or 3 shots that I could done to him if he was moving a bit forward. So keep in mind with that T-34 for the end of the game actually. So at the moment we are firing blind. I like sometimes firing blind on the usual camping spots because who knows, sometimes you hit it, sometimes you have a blind kill. Anyway, now that we see that no one is there, what shall we do? Shall we fire at the enemy that we can see? Yes, I'm gonna try to get the wheel of the T-34, but unfortunately my gun is not that accurate. It's accurate enough, but not that much. So we managed to miss a couple of shots. Enemy VK baits a bit, but doesn't show all of his sides. So we have to find another target. Unfortunately, Comet got concentrated with the fire of the enemy tanks and destroyed. Hellcat is in a big problem, we cannot help him out. Cheery is there, Tiger is there, and the heavy number 6. Actually, the Japanese Tiger is there as well, the premium one. So we need to pull back and use the gun as best as we can. And as I said before, I need to be a bit concealed, and this armor of the SU has a very good sloping against tier 6s, but 7s, let's say the enemy Tiger can easily penetrate us. So that means I'm hoping that the enemy heavy tank number 6 doesn't use the APCR rounds. First shot in, go straight in. Aiming for the enemy Tiger, no shots at all. Enemy Cheery though, remember this guy. That's an autoloader Cheery. And that Cheery doesn't have much of penetration, and at this angle we can actually bounce a lot of his shots, as well as the Tigers. And as you can see, the Cheery is actually not just hitting my sloped armor, but the armor around my gun mantlet, which is bouncing all over the place. So we can get him with a couple of shots down. So at the moment we don't see the Cheery, but we see the Tiger, and that Pussycat is a bit of a problem. First shot in, as you can see, he managed to penetrate me with his next round, and it's a regular round with 200 minutes penetration. Cheery tries to do some damage, but he cannot do anything. Luckily for us, we managed to out-DPM the enemy Tiger and get him down. If I was carrying the big gun, I would just fire and go actually hiding, so the enemy Tiger approaches to me when I'm already reloaded. Cheery meanwhile tries to get us, cannot penetrate us. Same story yet again, he's not targeting the V-spots, he's just spraying all over my tank, and as you can see, the enemy Cheery was an easy kill for me. Plus, I tracked the poor dude, and he looks like he already used the repair kit. Anyway, now that we did manage to secure this position, we have a couple of options, so that where the line is, actually the encounter mode here is usually the medium rush side, and the left side where the 1-2 line is the heavy side, so keep in mind of those things. Shall we try to aim? Yes, I was thinking about telling the enemy gun carrier to pull back, but the gun carrier is a very slow machine, so he won't be pulling back fast enough. So I'm thinking to go ahead and help him out, even though I'm at half HP. So as I said before, don't tank with this machine. As you saw it, Tiger just managed to do half of the HP off me. And remember that, because sometimes with the RNG you must get lucky to do some serious stuff in this game. Which I don't approve from time to time, but that's just a nature of this game that's called World of Tanks. First shot in the enemy Firefly deters him from pushing forward, and the second shot in the enemy VK shows him that his turret armor is not so good as he thinks it is, and showing his backside to two enemy tank destroyers is not a very smart move, dude. So while the gun carriage, Churchill gun carriage can hold the enemy Firefly at bay at the moment, I must go all the way around and use this tank destroyer as a medium tank. So one thing that you don't want to use this tank destroyer as it's a ramming machine, because you saw how much damage I took from just ramming that guy, and that's not a good tactical advice. So as you saw it, I had to do a shot and a ram to make sure that I made a kill. And that Firefly didn't manage to get me, luckily this time. And the other side has problems with the very nasty KV-4. So we need to back up our IKV. And the KV-4, luckily for us, is on low HP. By the time we manage to get our sights on him, the AKV gets his side armor and destroys him. So, enemy are going for the cap, so we need to stop them. Guess what tank is in the gap? So you have a couple of options. The enemy definitely expects you to go all the way to zero line, approach from the corner and try to go the fast way around it. Let's say you have to be a bit smarter than that to go that way. But first, here's the problem for the enemy. He doesn't have backup from his allies. That's a big spoiler. And if you want to cap, you have like that and lure the enemy. You have You need to have the backup from your allies or don't even approach the capital. So he made a mistake. Let me show you how. And SU-101 can be used as a medium tank, but I don't recommend him for using as a pure medium, but actually this could be a Stug 3G on steroids, or actually on tier 8. This is how you can use this machine. So you're gonna wait for your allies, that's why I'm gonna wait for them now, and as you can see right now, I'm making sure that with my binos that enemy IKV and the enemy Panther are not coming this way. So I'm going all the way around the rock and I'm gonna try to surprise the enemy. Just around here. Using my speed. And I'm hoping that he's not aiming at me, that he's aiming actually at the corner. From which I'm gonna actually deter him from aiming, yes. And he's aiming at the corner. Right, great. Auto aim shot on the move, bounced off because of the turret of course. And now I'm going fast as I can. I need one shot into him. Fire it. Continue moving, and the enemy T-34 becomes a bit more impatient and drops his shots a bit too low, and he realized he's defeated, and that's why he just turned his turret like that for us to finish him off. Now the situation is completely different with the other guys. They should be able to back him up, and he should have waited for them. The moves that he just done is not very good. The three of us that are winning at the moment, we are winning because we are working as a team, even though we are uncoordinated random guys. So the enemy can approach us from three sides. This side over here, right side where this IKV is aiming, and the back of the SU-101. Guess what side the enemy IKV and the Young Panther are gonna take? And are they gonna go together or solo? Let's see. So the enemy IKV decides that he wants to go this side, and he managed to get one shot into our IKV. SU-100 goes around there, M1, and I have to go with the IKV, or I can back up the SU where the actual SU was. So I'm making sure the Jack Panther doesn't come up. Rolling over here using the hill to give me an advantage. Aiming over here, and remember the RNG. Track him, he turns away. I move close, he fires one shot, and I finish him off. Though, if he was facing me, he could make not one shot but two shots, which will actually definitely finish me off. And now I have to be careful, because I'm on one shot kill. And Yak Panther loves one shot kills, of course. And guess what? The dudes didn't go together, and they're gonna lose this fight. Keep in mind, I'm gonna end up abruptly when I manage to get the enemy Yak Panther, so keep in mind that the scoreboard is gonna be after this. I won't be narrating that thing. I'm just gonna show you how the game was. Anyway, so we are waiting for the Young Panther. Young Panther is gonna show up sooner or later, and he's gonna realize that 3 guns against 1 are definitely better with DPM and rate of fire. Even though that all 3 of us are actually low HP, we are fighting as a team. As you can see, he's getting hit by not 1, not but 2, but 3 guns as well. So I'm down to hit ammo only. And hit's not very good with slope armor, so I need the very good shot for him. Actually a very good profile on him to get a shot on him. One of our guys is flanking, the other dude is with me and trying to aim for him. I drop that shot too short, but he goes for me, and instead of that, he gets smacked by a couple of the other tank destroyers. And that's all she wrote. See you next time.